Hey folks, welcome back to AAA Farms. James here. So today's going to be hopefully a quick video. We're back on the 2013 Ford Edge. The last time we worked on this, we fixed a overheating issue, which was due to one radiator fan being bad, and the other one, after we got everything changed, seemed like the other one wasn't blowing as hard. So we got that issue done, but as I was test driving for that issue, noticed that this thing was having a lot of problems going from third to fourth gear. And after doing some Googling, found out that, of course, all Ford front-wheel drive vehicles, mainly the Edge and the Explorer is the one that popped up the most, so maybe they share a transmission between the two or something. But I saw the 2013 to about the 2015 time frame that is an extremely common issue for these transmissions to have issues whenever they shift from third to fourth gear for some reason. Haven't really seen anything that 100% says this is your problem. I've seen where they had some people who reset the transmission module, issue went away, and then after that 1,000 miles when the module's trained, it comes right back. I've seen where people completely had the transmission rebuilt and it came back after like a month, and you know, that's a couple grand. The one fix that I found that's not, and I say fix, we got to see if it works. One thing I found that supposedly fixes this is what we're going to try today. But I'm going to get everything kind of going and then talk about it, because it's going to take a minute to do everything, just because it's, you'll see, it's going to take a minute. I got the hood pop open. Next step, we need to pull the transmission plug, drain all that stuff out. So I got to find something small enough to fit under this car, because I don't have ramps. So I'm going to hunt that down real quick. We'll start letting the transmission fluid drain out. And while we wait on that, maybe we talk a little bit more then about what I found. Okay, so what I'm going to try to use, because my bucket there is too tall. This is a lid to one of the type of protein buckets I use. So I'm going to try to use it as a catch pan. It has a good lip around it. So what we're doing now is draining the transmission fluid. We should get roughly 4 or 5 quarts. So I'm hoping that's enough. It should be. And then the bolt's supposed to be 11mm bolt, so we'll get under here and pull the bolt and let this start draining. Let's see. Try to get in here to show y'all. There it is. So there's the bolt, right? Make sure y'all can see it. Right there. That guy right there. So I'm going to pull it, and we'll let this drain out and go from there. Slight change of plan, just want to show that I can fit the bucket out under here, just barely though. So I'm going to break this bolt loose and let it drain straight into the pot there. Alright, we got that draining. So as we're waiting on that, I can kind of talk to y'all a little bit. It's kind of curious how dark that is. I don't know, I'm used to automatic transmission fluid being red. That looks very black to me. So we'll have to see what the new transmission fluid looks like. Anyway, what I think's going on, I found a very simple fix to this. Basically, Lucas Oil makes a transmission fix fluid. I think it's like a 24-ounce bottle. I'll show y'all that in a minute. But what people have been doing is they drain the transmission and obviously put the bolt back in and all that. They'll put the quart of that, or the 24 ounces of that bottle in there. And then they'll turn around and fill the rest up with automatic transmission fluid, which is about 4 to 5 quarts, is what they say it takes. So what I suspect is going on, because the only thing that makes sense to me, after doing some digging, apparently you're supposed to be changing automatic transmission fluid on this transmission every 25,000 miles. And nobody does that. My F-250 is roughly a little under 130,000 miles with the same transmission fluid, and my F-350 1-ton is probably not that bad, to be honest, because I had to replace the transmission in it when I was 16 or 17, something like that. So it's age-wise old, mile-wise not that much. And then like my wife's Camry is over 200,000 miles. We've never changed the transmission fluid in it. So to be honest, I never even heard of people changing transmission fluid until I started looking this up. Now, so what I think's going on is either the transmission fluid that this thing uses or the design of this thing. I suspect that the pickup tube for fourth gear is either smaller or has a weird angle or something. But what I suspect is going on, because it's essentially all hydraulics, I think it's picking up some trash or some goop, something on that transmission. And what that's doing is it's plugging up that hole to where it still allows you to shift to fourth gear, but it's going to cause it to stutter because the fluid can't get there fast enough. It can get there, just slow them down, which would explain why it's stuttering. And what I think this Lucas Oil transmission fix is going to do is basically bust up all that debris and clean it all out. Because also what they say is once you do this, when you first crank it up, you'll go through all the gears just sitting here. You'll go through every gear, and then you drive, and the more you drive it, the better it gets. So I suspect that's the more that Lucas Oil moves around that transmission and it busts up all the clots. It allows the transmission to go back to shifting smoothly. That's what I suspect is happening, but I have no idea. I don't even know if this is going to work necessarily. A lot of people say it does. So this all costs, if you buy it off of Amazon, all the stuff we're using today is going to cost about $50. If you go to like AutoZone or your local auto parts, I think it's like $80-$90 for the exact same stuff. So if you can wait, Amazon's a good way to go to save a little bit of money. All you need is 5 quarts of the Mercon CVT or CT transmission fluid and the 24 ounces of Lucas Oil transmission fluid fix. So when this gets done draining and we get off the floor here, I'll show you all the actual bottles of what we're using and stuff. Okay guys, so this is what I was talking about. So I mean, obviously 5 quarts of the Ford Motorcraft Mercon LV. For some reason I was thinking CT, but LV automatic transmission fluid. And then Lucas Oil transmission fix, stop slips, all that good stuff. Cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting. So I'm betting the clean part's key there. So I got the bolt, 11mm bolt put back in the bottom. The fill cap is right there. So we can take this off down. Try to get down there so I can actually get to it. Okay. And it's also your dipstick. So the key here, if you don't have a flex funnel like I do, and you have a straight funnel, you actually got to unplug the sensor to get the funnel in there. That curve funnel is going to let me pour straight in there. Oh, there you go, straight down in there without having to unplug anything. Alright, so we got our flex funnel down there. So this Lucas Oil stuff is super thick. So just take that tip off. Try to pull our seal off here. And then just pour it in there. It's going to take a minute. This stuff is super thick. Okay, now we got all that in there. It took several minutes because that stuff is super thick. I'm trying to even think of something that it's definitely a lot thicker than transmission fluid and hydraulic oil. I mean, obviously it's not quite as thick as grease, but it is super thick. So on the transmission fluid, you got 5 quarts. You're gonna need somewhere between 4 and 5 quarts. So start off with 4 quarts, do some measuring, and go from there. Okay. Let that drain down. We're going to see how much that is. Go from there. Take a dipstick, wipe it off. Looks good on the first one. I always like to check twice though. You're never too sure whenever, you know, are you actually collecting this stuff up as you're pushing it down there. Looks like we're good on the transmission fluid now. We'll crank it up, let it run for a bit, go from there, see if we need to add some more as we let some of that fluid disperse, and see what's next. Okay, so we got everything filled up. We're gonna get in, crank the car. Alright. So what we want to do is shift through the different gears here. Until you feel it. You can feel it when it engages. Okay. Now that I'm in shift, I'm just shifting up and down. I can't really see where the gear is though. Is it behind all these warnings? Yeah, there it is. See, that's one. So you only can shift back and forth between first and second. I'm gonna check the fluid level now, and then we'll take it for a test drive and go from there and see what it looks like. Hopefully we can see a little bit of a difference. All right, guys, we're on the highway, so we're gonna count. First and second, fine. Second and third's fine. Third to fourth still having a little issue. It's jerking. Like I said, it takes time. They say the more you drive it, the better it gets. So we're gonna just drive up the road a bit and then turn around and come back. The idea is you want it to shift as much as possible, because I mean that's really what we're doing. We're not trying to make it run in 5th gear or 6th gear, whatever the highest gear is for this thing. So I'm gonna slow down. There's nobody behind me. This is a rural highway, by the way. Have no way of telling what gear we're in. Speed up again. We're about 20 miles an hour, so it should go back to 3rd to 4th and all that. It's still jerking. I doubt it's coming across the camera. It ain't jerking that bad. It's enough for you to notice and say, hey, something ain't right here. If you're a person outside of this video watching this right now, you probably think I ain't drunk. The car just keeps slowing down to 20 miles an hour and speeding back up. Okay. So you still feel something, but as it's going, it does seem to be getting better. So I think ideally I drive this to work Monday. That's going to allow me to shift it through all the gears multiple times. Just a lot of, it's not really a lot of start stopping, but there's several, I guess, stop signs and stuff along the way. One, or slowing down anyway, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's about 7 stop signs on the way to work. Stop signs / red lights, and that's going to make me come to a complete stop and shift through all those gears. So it should make things a lot better, or it should let all that stuff flow around really well. So that's the current game plan. Alright guys, that's it on the Ford Edge today, or to this video anyway. So my opinion, I think this has potential to be a fix. I do think there is some value into it needs to clean the transmission. It's kind of like a cardiac system. You start getting blood clots in there, it allows or limits blood flow, and that's essentially what's going on here. So a couple takeaways: as I'm driving it, I do notice it getting better. Sometimes I don't feel anything, sometimes I do. I do notice that as I'm going uphill and I'm shifting 3rd to 4th gear, I still feel it quite a bit. If I'm going downhill, shifting 3rd to 4th, I'm not noticing it as much. And then if I'm on flat terrain, it's kind of hard to tell because A, there ain't a whole lot of flat terrain around here, but I do notice it getting better. Now, if you remember, when I started draining it, all that fluid, and if you don't, you can go back, but the fluid was black. The transmission fluid was black. It's supposed to be red. So I actually went back to look at the video as I was putting the transmission fluid in, because I forgot to really look and think about it. However, I had the bottle on the way the entire time, but I just looked at the inside the bottle now. It's red. It's red, automatic transmission fluid red. So yeah, it was time to change transmission fluid, I think. And I think that Lucas Oil transmission fluid is going to help clean everything out. So I think there's something here. What I'm going to do, so this video should be posted Monday. Today is Saturday, November 2nd. So we got that Monday would be 4th, November 4th. And that's when this video is going to go up. So what I might do is, if I do drive this to work, I'll put a clip at the end of this telling y'all, hey, yep, I notice the difference, don't notice the difference, whatever. But if they need the car back tomorrow, I can't do that. So, but I can give you the feedback from her driving it, because she drives about an hour 15 to work, and there's a lot more stopping and going for her. So it actually might be better, or you'll probably get better, faster results with her driving it than me, because mine's mostly highway. Anyway, it seems to be doing better. It makes sense. It says it cleans the transmission fluid. We had black transmission fluid. The transmission fluid on this car, or this type of transmission, according to Ford, it's supposed to be changed every 25,000 miles. This car has, I think, a hair over 200,000, or it's floating around 200,000. So I promise you it's never been changed before, because honestly, before this car I never even heard of that. Because I mean, the 1 ton, the only way you can change transmission fluid, because I did it before when I started having transmission problems last go around, when I had to change transmission fluid out, to drain that I had to drop the pan. There was no drain valve or drain bolt or anything like that. So it wasn't common back then. So I don't know, something new, something else Ford's failing at apparently. Used to be a really big Ford guy. I can tell you right now, if Toyota ever came out with a 1 ton, I'd buy it, because the American made trucks they're getting more and more disappointing, and they're getting more and more ridiculous in price. That's my personal opinion. But every time you hear about any of them, they're just falling apart. And I mean, Ford, Chevy, GM, Ram, they're just falling to pieces. So anyway, that's enough of that. I think this might be a thing. So if I get to drive it Monday, I will let y'all know. If not, we'll do an update later on to see how it's doing for her. I suspect it's going to get better, and only get better from there. So thank y'all for joining me on the farm today. Hope y'all learned a little something. I hope this helps you with your problems with your Ford Edge or Explorer front wheel drive transmission. And if not, I'm sorry. Go buy a Toyota. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Talk to you next time.